Pat, it's great to see you. Happy year 2 for the college basketball season. Obviously, a lot has changed for you over the last year and a half. You go into this new season, you have your home. What does it feel like to call Louisville your home for good?
First of all, Dusty, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, last year was a whirlwind. One of the most exciting, exhilarating years of my life. Obviously, reaching the Power 5 level, being named the head coach at such a prestigious basketball program like Louisville, moving my family. There was a lot of craziness. This was the first off season, although it continues to be crazy because that's how our business is, and you don't stop. You're building your roster. Our feet are firmly planted on the ground in this town, and it's been great. The city's been welcoming. My kids are happy in their schools. My wife has her friends in the neighborhood. She knows what grocery store she goes to. So it's good. It's such a great town. Similar in a lot of ways to Cincinnati, where I grew up, being a river town. It's unbelievable restaurants. Last year, because of the craziness, I didn't get to enjoy a lot of them unless we were going on a recruiting thing or something, or a recruiting visit. But my wife and I are able to get out some. I'm not going to name any because I don't want to leave any out. I got a lot of friends in the restaurant business now, but unbelievable foodie town. The Kentucky Derby, bourbon and beyond. I mean, Louisville Cardinals, it's pretty cool.
You've been out in the community constantly. I mean, we see you at baseball games, we see you at football games. Now we're going to see everybody come to your games as well. How important is it for you to be ingrained in this community and to be a face here and to make an impact that goes beyond the hardwood as well?
Yeah, you know, the head basketball coach at the University of Louisville is a prominent figure, very well known, very recognized. And I think it's important with the responsibility that you have as the coach here to make sure you're giving back, you're being present, you're out there, you're a part of the community, and I try my best to do that.
You talked about your wife, your kids, how they've been able to kind of call this home. How special is that for you, that this is home for them, and it's as big of a deal for them to be comfortable here as it is for you? How important is that?
Yeah, it's big. You know, I moved 2 teenage girls from Charleston, and teenage girls moving from their friends and their friend groups. That's always difficult. They knew and they know, and they were unbelievably supportive. And Dad, you know, I was in a starter's block like a sprinter, and I just ran here because this was like the Disney World of college basketball programs. But they were leaving their friends, so there was an adjustment period there. But being here now, seeing the smile on their faces, happy, having really close friends groups, being involved from a social standpoint, just going to Bourbon and Beyond, going to see, forget even who the country singer is they went to see, but when you're the head coach at Louisville, you can get some pretty good tickets and pretty good seats. So they're right there in the front, and they turn around and give me a big hug, and it's like, that makes you feel really good.
I know Johnny is also making his adjustment as well here. I guess, you know, a lot of people don't ask you this, I'd imagine. They talk about what's happening on the court, but you are a dad and a husband above everything else that's going on out there. So how is that balancing being the face of this basketball program and having all of this kind of whirlwind hit you while you're still having to be a great husband and a great father as well?
Well, the first thing I am before anything else is I'm a Christian, and I'm a son of my Savior, Lord Jesus Christ in heaven. That's where I'm centered. That's where I'm grounded. But I always say my faith, my family, and hoop. And you know, I just was blessed to grow up in a home with present parents that poured into us, that disciplined us, held us accountable. We're just there. My dad worked in the retail, still works in the retail automobile business, and those are some almost harder hours than college coaching. But somehow, some way, my dad was always there. My mom, we were really blessed that she was a stay-at-home mom, so when I got home from school, she was there to give us an after-school snack, and now she's one of the toughest people I ever met. That's where I think I get my grit and my toughness. But you know, I just see the impact that it had on me, and having that modeled in the home I was raised in. I try my best. I'm not perfect, but I try to be the best husband and the best father I can be.
As a man of faith, how important is that to use the Lord as your guidance and your way when it comes to turmoil, tough times, a lot of attention surrounding you? What does that look like for you?
I mean, he's the answer. If you simplify all of the world's problems, all of my problems, all of anybody's problems, he is the answer. He is the answer, and that's where I'm grounded. That's where I'm centered. That's where I get my courage. That's where I get my strength to deal with life and adversity, and we all have it. And I just try my best to try to be the best example I can, understanding that we're all flawed. I tell that to my players. Just because I proclaim myself to be a Christian and a son of God, I'm going to make mistakes, because we all are. But 2,000 years ago, he died on that cross, to take our sins away. As long as we know him and we love him and we have a personal relationship with him. And I try to model that with our guys, and if I'm blessed and lucky enough to steer some people closer to a stronger relationship with the Lord, obviously you have to win games and you have to develop pros, because you got to keep your job and your kids like to eat. But helping those guys get on a path that puts them closer to the Lord is a big priority for me.
Is that something, kind of conveying that we all fall short? Is that something that you try to do player to player as well, and giving them that insight as well on top of what you coach game to game? I mean, what does that interaction with players look like beyond the scope of what's happening in hoops?
The understanding that we're all flawed. My saying is we're all screwed up in our own way. So understanding that first and foremost, and giving some people some grace, not passing judgment so quickly, just in life and in general. I like to think my guiding principles and my beliefs and our core principles within our program in some ways are biblical, without even saying it, like, having a servant's heart. Jesus, that's how he led. He served others. He served the poor. He washed the feet of lepers. It's power of the unit is one of our three big tenets: relentless effort, competitive excellence, and the power of the unit. That's the uncommon commitment to others, to the guy next to you. It's based on the most powerful force in the universe, and it's love. And I know I've said that many, many times in interviews, but I believe it. Relentless effort, man, we go hard every time, every rep, so that we're tougher than any situation or any opponent will face. Competitive excellence, that's every rep's a game rep. That's the process. That's excellence in the process. So you're ready when the stakes are high. And then that power of the unit, it's loving the guy next to you. It's sacrificing. It's working so hard to not let the guy next to you down. And I think there's a lot of Jesus' teachings in that.
To be able to have this opportunity to coach elite athletes, to be on this platform, to play at the highest level, and also with the chance to play for a national championship, is this the dream that you had when you were a young Pat Kelsey growing up in Cincinnati? I mean, where has this gone from when you were a kid to now fast forward, you're the head coach of Louisville basketball, and you guys have all eyes on you? What is that like for you?
Well, it's surreal sometimes when I walk into the Yum Center early. I'm an early guy. I leave really early. Somebody asked me about the traffic on 42 on Brownsboro, right by the junction.
It gets bad.
I leave before everybody. I get home before everybody.
That's
so
the cheat code.
That's the cheat code. But sometimes when I get to the Yum Center early, and somebody's always down there from a security standpoint, and it'll be crazy early, and we're not practicing for 9 or 10 hours, and I'll just say, do you mind? Sorry for the taxpayers, whoever's paying that, or can you turn on the lights for me? Not every day, but if those lights will go on, like Roy Hobbs in The Natural, and the lights go on.
You have that Moneyball moment when you're walking in the outfield, the Billy Bean moment right there.
That's it.
It's a great
and I just kind of look around, I'm like, man. So, growing up in Cincinnati, my dad was a businessman. He's in the car business. My dad was a coach. Yeah. He was my coach. He leads like a coach. His salesman, whoever it is, and he was a great motivator. And God rest his soul, Pete Rose, who you talk about it, people having flaws. He has flaws and faults, but so do I. But if you're a kid in Cincinnati growing up in the early 80s, you idolize Pete Rose because between the lines, he ran to first base on walks. He went in spikes high at second base, and if he was rounding third and heading home, and his cousin was the catcher, and he was blocking the plate, and it was an exhibition game in the All-Star game, like in 1970. He was running his butt over, and that's kind of how I was raised. And my mom never said, "I hope you win." She said, "Dive on the loose balls." So it was just that kind of that blue-collar work ethic that I came up with, and fell in love with basketball. Had great coaches. My high school coach is a dear friend of mine and will be for the rest of my life. Skip Prosser was my mentor, and one of the best people I've ever been around. And I fell in love with basketball, and I got with this profession, or what I do in this spot, whether I'm at Winthrop at a low major level, or I'm at the Power 5 level, or I'm the freshman basketball coach at Elder High School like I was in 1999, I get to teach. I get to teach and motivate. I get to teach through this game that I love, that I'm passionate about. And one of my favorite things, and I think it's one of my gifts, and I got a lot of flaws, is I think I'm a really good teacher. And when I'm on the floor, that's my classroom. And you're teaching lessons, you're teaching the game of basketball, but you're teaching process and excellence as well. And that's what I love to do.
And you get to see what your teachings have done move on to the next level, seeing the guys like Chucky Hepburn, what he's been able to accomplish and moving on, and seeing these players move on to different parts of their lives. How special is that to have an impact, whether it is a future in basketball or it's something else in this life?
I think a lot of coaches will tell you, and we share stories all the time, some of their coolest moments is when they hear from former players, and even when some of, like, maybe it didn't go great with. Maybe you didn't see eye to eye. A kid named Brandon Vega, and I'm going to send him this interview when you broadcast it, was my first recruit ever when I became a head coach at Winthrop. He went through a tough time right when he got there. He tore his ACL, sat out a whole year. Another kid came in the next year, beat him out. It didn't work out. He ended up leaving and transferring. We probably didn't separate on the greatest terms, but the letter that I received to him, and I have it in my office still, and it's a 6-page letter, 3 pages front and back, fully handwritten. Who does that anymore? Nobody.
Not a soul.
And he wrote a 6-page handwritten letter that I keep, and it's a treasure of mine. And it's just talking about, although we went through tough times, I faced adversity, you and I didn't see eye to eye, I didn't really accept my role, I didn't like my role, I went somewhere else. The things you taught me, and he started naming them: never delay gratitude, dive on the loose ones, power that he goes, I apply those to my professional life. And Brandon's from a tough neighborhood in Miami, and he's killed it. He's become a great success. He's a published author, he's a motivational speaker, he started his own brand. Doesn't get any better than that.
To have that reward has got to be so special. And I know that you're going for that ultimate goal this year, to go and try and win a national championship. For you to be in this position, you mentioned it's surreal, but now you have to go out there and execute. What does Pat Kelsey's life look like now when you're in pursuit of that ultimate goal of winning a national championship?
I mean, that's always the goal. We say we don't focus on outcomes, we focus on the process and the daily excellence, and the outcomes take care of themselves. But I know what I signed up for here. I get it. Drive around, anybody in town, they want to talk, and it's about, last year I think we had a little bit of I don't know if you call it a reprieve with the revival team, because we were coming off two short years, but everything we did was a lot of pats on the backs and attaboys, but like the standard's back, the expectations are sky high, and that's what you want. That's what you get when you're in this seat. You better embrace it, you better run toward it. The ebbs and flows and the ups and downs, the goods and bads, the peaks and valleys of the season happen. It's being able to weather those, stay consistent, put blinders on, continue to focus on that next thing, and not listen to the outside noise, because the noise comes. I said it yesterday in my talk at the tip-off luncheon. The noise can be positive noise, or it can be negative noise. The positive is the praise and the pats on the back. The negative is when you get arrows thrown at you. Both are part of the job, and both are what you signed up for. You got to understand that, accept that, and just try to keep focused on what's right in front of you.
When you started this revival, I think one of the most fascinating things to watch is everybody in the crowd wearing those glasses right there. To be able to just see these people wearing the same frame, walking up, looking like Pat Kelsey 2.0. What was that like for you?
Crazy.
Was it a shock to you?
So Lottie Stockwell in marketing came up with the idea, or marketing, she runs all our external stuff. She came up with the idea. And I was like, man, I haven't done anything yet. I mean, Denny Crum can roll up the thing and wear the red thing. Like, I can't have a thing yet. We got to win a lot of games first. She goes, no, it'll be awesome. It really took off to the point where, like, I wanted to get a little versatile and tried another frame. And people start being like, Coach, what are you doing? You can't wear those. That's not your glasses. So I need to be able to branch off and be a little versatile at some point. But right now, I got a bunch of heat for changing them. So it's kind of become my thing a little bit.
Are they readers? Are they?
No, they're the real things.
They are the real thing.
Yeah, they're the real things.
Okay.
I have the ones where, like, you can see close there and far. I don't know what they're called, the transition. I don't like contacts, so.
They feel weird. They do feel
yeah,
weird.
I don't like them. Now, I don't coach in these yet.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that. Why is that?
First of all, these aren't the best for, like, active.
Okay.
So I had my other pair. I'm not going to name the brand. These are my Tom Fords. And Tom Ford, you need to like,
hook it up.
You need to take care of your guy
Yeah.
here. I'm like giving you a shout out. I got the other ones that are more for activity and things like that, but then people didn't like them, so I just take them off. I'm fine seeing long distance and stuff, but I said, if we go to a Final Four and win a national championship, I'll have that Denny Crum cloud a little bit, and I'll be able to put my glasses on the sidelines.
Coach, I have to ask you this. Obviously, it's your opening press conference. I asked you a question, and you're a huge baseball fan, and you can't love that enough, right? A lot of people had responses to the Dusty Baker just simply because they found out that you were more than a basketball coach. You were a huge baseball fan as well. You mentioned Pete Rose. You talked about your Cincinnati roots, but how much of an impact does that game have an impact on what you coach? It sounds like you bring a money ball, you talk about pitching rotations. We know you love the game. Where does that come from?
Yeah, interesting you say that, because really I do love Moneyball. I read the book and it kind of changed my perspective on recruiting, on prospecting, on all that stuff. So baseball has pretty big influence. I just like leadership and coaching. Tito Francona, Terry Francona. I sound like I'm name dropping now, like my friend Terry, but like literally we met last year when he came down to Louisville at the Reds Caravan, and he couldn't have been nicer, and he gave me his number. I'm like, Coach, you don't want me to text you? He was like, text me anytime. So I text him after big wins, and he hits me back like immediately. I'm like, this is awesome. But I say that to say I love following the Reds, and I always will. I pay attention to every game. Baseball's something you can do while you're doing something else. You can make recruiting calls, you can watch tape, and just the flow and the feel and the sounds of a baseball game is awesome. But I love leadership. So every morning when I get in the car, I turn on a Reds podcast that plays his post-game interview. Because I may not hear it every day, but I love to hear him talk about his team. I love to hear him talk about the journey. He is a big next thing guy. Everybody wants to talk about, well, what do you think about this momentum? What do you think about this game coming up? And he's like, it's about winning today's game. So, yeah, baseball's big to me, but I love Tito and I love the Reds.
And you got another PK down the road, by the way, too, with Pat Kelly. Bats head coach. There's 2 PKs in this town.
That is right, and he was unbelievable to me when I went to a game when I first got here, and he took me into the clubhouse. I'd never been in a professional clubhouse. All the years I've been at the Reds, I've never been in their clubhouse before, and that was really cool. But it's cool to have the bats right down there and see the Reds prospects and stuff. Beautiful stadium. Get your bats tickets. I'm helping out the ticket people down there.
Coach, I'll conclude with this. Just to be able to have this opportunity this upcoming season, what is your ultimate goal personally this upcoming year?
You know the answer you're going to get.
It's like a softball question.
Yeah. I mean, we all know what outcome we want to achieve, and you want to win it all. You want to win a national championship. Like, who doesn't? Yeah, that's the expectations here. We have the resources to do it. And, but as long as I can stay focused on my team, daily practice, the daily process, not get caught up with noise, stay connected throughout the year with the Lord, and help this team become the best version of itself. And we become the best version of this team that it could possibly be. Nothing's off the table.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
That was
Thank
great,
you.
man.
Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah.